Hello everyone, my name is Kebab, and welcome back to World of, well, Prokhorovka it seems, because in almost every video I have uploaded, there is a Prokhorovka game. I'm going to have a check actually, how many games I have uploaded with Prokhorovka in it. Be right back. I'm back. I have 4 games, if you include this one. 4 Prokhorovka or Fiery Salient games in my, well, 6 videos. 6 videos, 4 Prokhorovka games. I should really stop that, except I'm addicted to that map. And I don't even like Prokhorovka or Fiery Salient, especially when there's artillery. I bloody hate that map! Yeah, I'm going to do other maps. Prokhorovka is not going to make an appearance anytime soon, I hope. Oh, maybe next week. Next week is something different. Next week is... I'm busy with the campaign, so I don't really have time to make a video, so it's going to be a rather short one, but it's going to be different. Maybe. I'm not sure if I can even get around to making it. We'll see. What was I doing? Right, yeah. Welcome back to World of Tanks. Today, I am, well, yeah, driving the T-54 in Prokhorovka. But the focus is not on me on this game. It is on Zellmaniac in his Waffenträger Panzer IV. And on... well, this map, it means he's going to camp in the back, which means I have a lot of time to tell stories about my horrible weekend I had. And it is... I hated that weekend. I had a bad weekend. And it was not per se my fault. As more of my company's fault. Because we went on a trip to the zoo at night. Now, you can imagine that, you know, going somewhere at night is sort of exciting because you haven't been there at night, especially to a zoo. Like, what is a zoo at night? What do you do? But, you know, there are living animals in a zoo, which means they have to sleep. Which means, at night, they sleep. And it's dark. I'll tell you the whole story from the start. So, about a month ago, I received a letter from my company saying, hey, we, in October, exist for 25 years, and we want to do something special, something fun, with all of the members that are currently working here. So if you would like to join, send us an email, and then you are registered to come with us. It is still a secret what we're going to do, but it does involve food. So I'm like, free food? I'm going to come with. There's free food for me, and I'm going to do apparently something else. I imagine we're not going to, like, just eat food and then everyone can just go off home again. I was thinking maybe we're just going to go bowling. Like, Nico, let's go bowling! Or something like that, but apparently it was, well, much worse. So, last Saturday was the day that apparently the whole trip was organized. And we got a letter maybe 3 days before that saying, hey, you have to be at the company at 6 o'clock in the evening. We're going to get on a bus. We're going to drive to the zoo, eat food there, all expenses paid, and then get a tour through the zoo at night. So you're going to go in the night enclosements of the animals and see, like, sort of behind the scenes look with the animals. Yeah, no. So I'm on the bus, and by chance the Dutch football team is also playing against Kazakhstan. So I'm on the bus with my buddy, like my best friend and colleague, just watching the game on the mobile phone as shown on the picture. And we were just like, the struggle is real. We just want to watch football and not go to the zoo and be with people we hate. Well, not hate, but you know what I mean. It's colleagues. Incidentally, because the trip was planned on the same evening as the football game, a lot of colleagues complained about that they couldn't stay home and watch the football game, but instead have to be nice and cheerful with their colleagues in a place they didn't even want to be. And the bus was divided in basically 3 areas. You had the front with all the older sort of, leadership people, like my boss, his sons, and everyone that works above me. Then you have the middle of the bus, which is basically my area with my friend. Talking about football, you know, that kind of area. Like, sort of people in between 18 and 27 were there, just sort of chilling. And then the back of the bus were all the women and secretaries just squabbling about, talking about absolutely everything at a much too high volume. So the bus trip took about 30 minutes, and it was absolute hell because we couldn't even hear the football game because the back of the bus was making all of the noise. Eventually we arrived at the zoo, And we had to wait about 10 minutes before we were able to enter the zoo, because we were a bit too early, because not everyone was out of the park yet. The whole park was ours. The whole park was basically reserved for 50 people in the evening. So when we finally did get to enter the park, we had to walk all the way to the other side to go to the area where we got to eat, which was, it was a pretty nice area. The dining lodge, or Wanda Lodge, or whatever what was called, it looks pretty nice. It was well organized. The tables were, it was good and stuff, and everything was nice. And then we had to wait about half an hour before we got the food, which kind of was meh, because we had to wait earlier outside because we were too early, but then we had to wait extra for the food because the food wasn't ready yet. That kind of made me meh, but I'm really happy because I ate at home already. I was like, I know what we're going to eat here, and I know exactly what I'm not going to eat here, which was basically everything. So I'm going to eat at home, and then go there, and then eat a little tiny bit, so it does look like I've eaten something. So after about 25 minutes, the food got set on the buffet table. I'm gonna say buffet table. And half of my colleagues turned into a wild buffalo herd and just rampaged their way to the buffet table and took the food. And I sat there with my friends, just, wow, can't believe they actually did that. I was hoping for it to be a bit more organized, but it wasn't. So I sat there waiting for the first half to be done. And then when we thought that line was getting shorter, the second half just rampaged its way there. And we sat there like, to be honest, we're not going to eat that much, so it's okay if we can wait. So we waited till that line was gone. And then I got there. And then the buffet table consisted of a salad, a salmon salad, a shrimp salad, another salad, more green, a bit of chicken, some weak pork chops, and more salad and couscous. We ate 90% of what was on that table was salads. But, it's not wrong. Salads are good for you. I just expected more from a all expenses paid trip to a zoo. Then again, a zoo is, we are eating animal food, basically. Wow. So that was kind of disappointing. I don't know. Vegetarians might be really happy because a lot of salads, but I am a carnivore. I like meat. I like all sorts of meat. Give me every single piece of meat and I will eat it. If it's cooked, not raw. Raw meat's bad. Enough talk about raw meat. We were done eating at around 8 o'clock, and we had to sit there till 9 o'clock because that's when the tour officially started. So we just sat there, and everyone was like, well, I guess I'll eat something else then, like a little bit extra, because I've got nothing to do, because we have to wait and do nothing. Meanwhile, me and my buddy were just basically following the Dutch football team, and they won 2-1. Yay! One of the few victories they've had this year. Yeah, so we sat there waiting. And then the tour finally started. And we were basically put into groups of 10 to 12 people because, you cannot have a massive group of 50 people squeeze into an area for an animal. And every group got a tour guide. And the group I was in with my best buddy and a couple of other people I had never ever seen in my life before, and the secretary, who was really nice, I forgot her name already, were put into a group. And so our group got 2 tour guides. They were both above 60 years old, and they said, well, we're going to support each other. And I mean literally support each other, because they were too old to properly walk. Oh god. And eventually the tour started, and we started with the old entrance to the zoo, which was, it was before the World War started kind of design, which is meh. It was pretty nice. And they have little red pandas there, and the red pandas were really cute, and he stood up next to the enclosement and basically stood on his hind legs looking up at us, and really cute. And I thought, maybe this is not so bad. And she talked about the red panda for maybe 3 minutes, then turned around, and then talked about the building being designed by Mr. von Buttface somewhere before the Second World War, and how it's a national building that cannot be destroyed and only renovated, and this is not what a zoo is about! We're here for the animals, not by a building designed by Sigmund from Buttface from before the Second World War. What I forgot to mention was that the tour guide wanted us to be completely quiet, and that the phones has to be turned off, because she doesn't know how phones work and I think they always make noise. Because, the animals are sleeping and they cannot have loud noises everywhere, which is perfectly fine. After that, we walked through the building she talked about, and talked about the restoration of the rhino enclosement. and talked about that for 5 minutes, and then someone asked, "Are we going to go in?" She answered no, and then continued walking towards the next area. And we were like, "Welcome to the zoo! You can see no animals. Thank you very much for paying." And from there on out, it was just a massive disaster. We went to the elephant enclosure, and she said before entering, "Be very quiet because the animals are sleeping." And then she continued to basically scream information at us about the elephants. We turned around to see if the rhino was sleeping, and all we saw was a rhino butt with a flashlight aimed towards it, which was great. The rhino enclosement in the second part of the story is a different sort of rhino. It was a white rhino, a big one, a scary one, that was asleep and showed his butt to us. So after the elephant and rhinos, we went to the lion enclosement, and the lights were on in the lion enclosement, and the lion was sleeping in front of the window. And I got a picture of it, as shown here, and it was, it was pretty cool. She talked about the lion for 5 minutes, and then we continued towards the tiger. And the tiger enclosement was underground, it was dark, and she wasn't allowed to use her flashlight because then the tiger would wake up. So we stood there in the dark as she was talking about a tiger, but we couldn't see the tiger because it was dark. Whoa, what a good idea to go to the zoo at night. Oh, the game's almost ended, and I've said nothing about it. I scrubbed out, John scrubbed out. So Maniac is 1 versus 3. He bounced off a... Oh, he's dead. Well... Oh, God. Oh, this wasn't supposed to be a heartbreak. He was supposed to win this. Well, maybe, the next game will be much better. I hope. So yeah, the next game. Don't worry, I'm going to continue my horror zoo story in a moment. But first I want to talk about this tank, the T-28 HTC. It is the second reward tank for doing the personal missions in World of Tanks. And what happens when you have 3 HTCs in a platoon in a top tier match like this? You go stupid. And if you do something stupid but it works, it isn't stupid. So we are basically going head on, straight over the bridge, right into the enemy, and we'll see how it goes. But now I'm going back to my horror story of the zoo. Eventually she did turn on her flashlight in the tiger enclosement because we saw nothing. There was no light source whatsoever. And she aimed it sort of at the ceiling above the tiger and sort of a bit half behind the tiger, so the sort of reflections of the light can get to the tiger. It wasn't still that great to see it, but I managed to take a picture, with a phone camera. Yeah, great quality, isn't it? That's basically what we all saw. Now, of course, the human eye can see a bit better in the dark than a phone can, but it was just so incredibly dark there that we barely saw the silhouette of a tiger. I don't know. After she was done talking about the tiger and we saw nothing, she continued to above the tiger enclosement because it was a sort of layered area, and she talked about medicine and diseases for the tiger that tigers can get. And I lost all my interest at that point, and so did the secretary and my best buddy, and we just sort of walked away to like 5 to 10 meters away from the group, just talk to each other. And then that tour guide had the balls, even though it was a woman, to scream at us, "Hey, come over here, you need to hear this." We had no interest whatsoever, and we just not cared. From that point on, I just stopped caring about that evening and just wanted to go home. And yes, only at that point did I lose interest, because the lion, right before the tiger, actually lifted my spirits up a bit because I saw an actual animal in a zoo. Can you imagine? But after she started talking about medicine for the tiger, I wanted to go home. I had no interest in being there whatsoever. But it got worse, because she wanted to go to the giraffe area. But before you get to the giraffe area, you walk over a hyena area. And she looked with her flashlight through the area of the hyena, and there were no hyenas outside. And she was wondering, why aren't they outside? Maybe because it's cold. And then she told me to basically shush, because she couldn't laugh about jokes. And I just shut off at that point. So yeah, after she successfully wrecked my mood, by walking us through a park and seeing no animals, we got to the giraffe area, and all the giraffes were inside. And it was even darker than the tiger area, and she was reluctant to use her flashlight here because the giraffes were actually still awake. And you cannot wake up a wake animal. That would be stupid. And deep into the shadows you could see giraffes moving and eating. And I decided to take a picture. And this is the picture I could take. But there was no light. And if you had a quick glance, all you saw was basically what's been seeing on the picture right now. Just black. Welcome to the zoo at night, kids. You don't get to see anything. And after that, we walked back to the area where we had dinner. And I just sat there, basically in a corner with my buddy, just waiting for the bus to arrive so we can go home. And we filed a complaint about that trip, actually, because it was basically a waste of our time. The food was bad, we didn't see any animals, our tour guides were just no. They were just no. They didn't want to do anything. And then we heard that the other tour guides were actually enthusiastic and took them to more places than we went. And I don't want to go to that zoo anymore because the people were just bad. They didn't want to be there. And if you don't want to be there, just tell us and then we'll know. But don't just... We were supposed to be having a fun time, and then she decides, well, I'm going to wreck your evening. So we went with another tour guide to the gorilla enclosement. And, it was dark there, but there was some lights on because she turned them on for us. And I saw a massive gorilla butt. And that made me giggle a bit because, a silverback butt, you don't see that every day. And then we got on the bus and went back home. I'm not going to say which zoo, but if you're from the Netherlands, you pretty much have figured it out already. Yeah. Word of advice. Don't go to a zoo at night unless they have a really specific good program for it, because this was just basically a tour through the zoo at night and you see nothing. But if they have like a sort of night safari, that sounds like a better plan than just, yeah, welcome to the oh, it's dark. Welcome to the giraffe. Oh, it's dark. Oh, well, the lion doesn't mind having the lights on, so here's a lion. Yay. Yes, I did censor the lion picture because it had some body parts in it, which, I don't know if people are allowed to see this on YouTube. Although there's some weird things allowed on YouTube. You can see an animal basically devour another animal, but I don't know if, that part of an animal can be shown on YouTube in a picture. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm happy I edited that out. And I get the last kill, and we get 11 kills in this platoon. Yeah, I know. I have said nothing about this game whatsoever. And I should really do that. Next video I did. Wait, next video is different. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and thanks for hearing me rant about the zoo. I'm not sure what I'm doing nowadays with my videos. I just talk about random stuff and not about the game, except for the Centurion Action 10 video. Yeah. Bye bye.